Okay, hello y'all. We're back with another NFL podcast, this time week 6. And we're going to be looking at all the games from last week, power rankings, teams on the rise, on the decline, just some NFL news and generals, and then y'all are going to get my predictions and looking ahead to the best matchups of next week. So first, what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the games from last week. So first, we're going to look at Bears-Panthers. And in this game, we see the Bears defense is looking pretty damn good, okay? They got a great defense, and no matter how much I didn't believe in them in the beginning of the season, they've shown that their defense can show up to play against anybody. They're playing a lot of the field position game. It's why they're winning games. Their defense is making the offense turn over the ball over and get the ball at the 50, 40. And with a quarterback like Nick Foles or even Trubisky in the beginning of the season, they can get 40, 50-yard drives and get touchdowns. We've seen this plenty of times with the Bears. Especially last week with the Panthers, they gave the ball away early to the Bears. And the Bears are a team that if they can play ahead, it's their best type of game. You're not going to see the crazy comebacks from the Bears. I mean, obviously we saw it with Nick Foles, but that's not going to happen every week. That was against a pretty bad team in the Falcons. So we see lots of field goals too. The Bears are having trouble scoring touchdowns, but if they can get field position and score and get field goals, they're going to win games with the defense that they have. Bridgewater and the Panthers can't be turning the ball over like that. If they want to win, honestly, scoring 16 points and turning the ball over a couple times, you're not going to win against a stiff Bears defense that's going to hold you to a lower amount of points. It wasn't the most dominating win for the Bears, but 23-16, Bears take the win. You can't be mad. You can't be mad with the wins here. Now we got the Bengals versus the Colts. Okay, so the Bengals went up early. They have a good offense. That's the thing. They had a 21-point lead. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins. Oh, no, not T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd. And we're looking at a lot of guys on that Bengals offense that can make plays. And Joe Burrow is going to find them eventually. I mean, maybe not right now, but he's still growing in. But they couldn't get it done today because, Phillip came off of a bad week before, comes in and plays really well. After the first few drives, Phillip kind of turned it on. And with a better O-line, the Bengals definitely could be in a lot more games like this one. I mean, I didn't think they would be anywhere close against the Colts. But the Colts defense honestly didn't show up until the second half. But after the second half, the Colts only gave up 3 points. I mean, the Bengals can't just only score 3 points in the second half. That's the problem. And they had a great comeback. The Colts win 31-27. Next, we had the Lions-Jags. Okay, it was a huge breakout day for DeAndre Swift. Still probably hurting from that week 1 drop, which kind of tainted his debut. But the Lions went up early and then surprisingly didn't give up a huge lead. Stafford isn't putting up great numbers, but against a team like the Jags, who honestly are just regressing, he doesn't have to put up that good of numbers. The Jags couldn't run the ball at all. They had to rely on Minshew to pass, and we know how that goes. 45 rushing yards all day for the Jaguars. I mean, come on. I mean, you got to give a hand to the Lions' run defense, but still, the Jaguars are really, really bad on offense. So we kind of learned that Minshew probably isn't the answer. Wouldn't be surprised if he got benched soon here. And the Jags are one of the worst teams in the league. It's a big win for the Lions. Keep Matt Patricia's job a little bit safer. Not as cool on the hot seat there, but Lions are going to win 34-16. Next, we got the Falcons-Vikings, which was just, it's kind of tough to watch the Vikings nowadays. I mean, yes, we know the Falcons have good offense, but usually their defense is not that good. They're going to give up 30 points a game. And Matt Ryan had 4 touchdowns and he made him compete. He said, hey, you got to score as much as we do. And the Vikings could not do that. Kirk Cousins is just not looking like a starting QB. He had 3 interceptions. And it looks like the Vikings could be looking for a new QB soon as well. Julio Jones, huge day. And, I mean, even though neither team ran the ball well, even with a guy like Dalvin Cook in your back line, you know, they couldn't do anything. They only scored 23 points against a Vikings defense that is not good. I mean, a Falcons defense is not good. And the Falcons won that one 40-23. Got to give ups for them, not giving up a lead. There we go. Washington versus the Giants. It's the battle of the NFC least here, y'all. I mean, the Washington looks like a team that at certain points could score and make great plays, but it seems as if they miss out on opportunities and turn the ball over a lot. So New York's going to get their first win, even without Saquon. Danny Dimes is going to lead them to a victory there, and Darius Slayton coming in huge for them. There was no running game for the Giants, but other than Daniel Jones, but I guess it doesn't matter against a bad Washington team. The only silver lining, I guess, for the Washington football team here is that McLaurin is having a hell of a season for them. If they can get a quarterback that can throw to him, he's looking like a pretty good wide receiver. Giants win 2019 in a nail-biter. Now we got Ravens-Eagles. Okay. This one, honestly, I feel like shouldn't have been as close as it was. I mean, the Eagles did not look good. Carson Wentz does not look that great. Until now, really, he's looked like a lot better quarterback this week. But Lamar is just a playmaker. He's going to make huge plays for you every game. So hard for the defenses to contain. And Philly just essentially came back too late. The Ravens went up big and kind of just coasted the rest of the game. I mean, I don't know if that's a good sign for them to be coasting, but against an Eagles team, I think it's going to be okay. The Ravens defense did look a little shaky in the late game, but other than that, I think it's a solid win for the Ravens and honestly a valiant effort for the Eagles. Okay, now we got Browns Steelers. I mean, whatever you say about the scoreline, I mean, it's obvious. Steelers won 38-7. The Steelers are looking like one of the strongest teams in the AFC. They have a great defense and can run the ball and have a good quarterback, but Baker Mayfield getting benched to get replaced by Case Keenum is the biggest part of this game. The Browns still have a good enough record to definitely make the playoffs, and if they want to make any type of playoff push, I'm not sure if Baker's the answer, or maybe he needs a couple games sat down and figure out what he's doing, but he can't be playing like that. 7 points for the Browns with the playmakers that they have, it just can't happen. Oh, and that one it is Steelers 38-7. Texans, Titans. Okay, this was by far the best game of the week. Most exciting. Went into overtime, but at the end of the day, it's the Derrick Henry show for the Titans. Ryan Tannehill is playing well this year, but Derrick Henry is the guy. 264 yards with 2 touchdowns. I mean, that is just fantastic. I mean, luckily I had him on my fantasy team this week, which was pretty nice, but you know, at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson and Tannehill had a great QB battle, and Tannehill came up on top. I mean, him and Derrick Henry, that combo is so good. And the Titans are going to drop. The Texans are dropping to 1-5, and it's going to be hard for them to come back from this. Not a lot of 1-5 teams make the playoffs, and while they have such a talented roster, it does not seem like this team is going to be able to make a playoff push. I mean, we'll see. They fired their coach, but we're going to need to see a different Texans team that can beat good teams. I mean, last year they could beat good teams. It doesn't seem like this year they can. I know they've had a tough schedule, but they have to win at least more than one of those in the first 6. They have to. Titans win this one 42-36. Packers, Buccaneers. This was the most shocking game of the week for me because for me, I saw the Packers as probably the best team in the league going into this last week. with their offense. I mean, even with the Chiefs being there at the top, obviously they're really good, and Pat Mahomes back there, but it's Aaron Rodgers with a team that is scoring so many points. And it was just crazy to see the Buccaneers essentially almost figure out Rodgers. I don't know if this was a coaching game between Arians, where Arians kind of figured out Rodgers, but the Buccaneers defense looked really good. Tom Brady was in form. They finally get Gronk more involved. In Green Bay, they scored in the first quarter, but didn't score again. I mean, you can't only play one quarter of a football game, and it seems like at half they couldn't make adjustments to stop the Buccaneers or to even help get any more offense going. So Buccaneers are taking that one 38-10 against a really good Packers team. It makes me think the Buccaneers are a lot better, especially now with AB reportedly signing with them. I mean, you're giving all these weapons to Tom Brady. They're going to be a force for sure. Next was Rams-Niners. I mean, Jimmy G's back, and he's firing the ball well, playing great for the Niners, even against a stiff Rams D. And Kittle is playing like an absolute madman. He's so good. One of the best tight ends in the league by far. I mean, Darrell Henderson as well, having a good day, but it was really the Niners show there. I mean, the Niners defense just shut down the Rams. Jared Goff couldn't get anything done. And the Rams tried to make a late comeback, but it's just not going to happen against a dominant Niners team. And the Niners are moving back to even with all the injuries they have, which is honestly incredible that they're even. Next, we got Broncos-Patriots. Okay, so the Broncos, this game, I mean, I said earlier that it was a very shocking game for the Buccaneers-Packers. This one is up there, but it was so shocking for me, the Buccaneers-Packers, because just how dominant that win was. The Broncos here are edging out a victory against the Patriots. I honestly love this win with no touchdowns. McManus coming in for 6 field goals. 6 field goals to come give the Broncos that dub. They didn't even need to get in the end zone. And Cam Newton can't turn the ball over like that. Belichick's probably wishing right now he still had Brady, because Brady's not making those mistakes against Denver. But it's a huge win for the Broncos if they're trying to look for the playoffs. Philip Lindsay has become the lead back and is just incredible. We know the Broncos have always had a good defense and are always going to try to run the ball. It's been their thing for the last 10 years. But very slow game, ran the ball, and Philip Lindsay is going to help you put in scoring position, and McMahon is going to kick it in. It seems what the goal here is for the Broncos right now, and I love it. I love taking out the Patriots 18-12. Jets, Dolphins. Oh, this is one of the crazier games of the week. I mean, I know it's not crazy on the scoreline, 24-0. Obviously, the Jets are kind of looking like one of the worst teams to ever play in the NFL. I know I've heard talks of them being as bad as the 0-16 Browns and especially the 0-16 Lions. And they are just awful. I've never seen I don't think I've seen a worse football team. I would be very surprised if they got a win this year. They'd have to get really lucky. Punter's getting mad work for the Jets. That's all I can say about the Jets, really. I mean, he's getting lots of practice. Even with Fitz not playing at his best, I mean, it's a cakewalk. It's a cakewalk for the Dolphins here. But the biggest thing, Tua gets 2 reps. He's 2 for 2 passing. Tua is now named the starter going into the bye week, which is a little surprising for me because of the way Fitz has been playing. Fitz is coming off a 2 or 3 game win streak, and off of 2 or 3 plays that Tua was in, he's now the starter. I mean, yes, he looked poised back there, and honestly, it was really weird to see me rolling out to the opposite side. I totally forgot he was a left-handed quarterback for a sec. Looked like Michael Vick. But, yeah, I mean, Tua. We'll see how that works out for the Dolphins. Dolphins are one of my most favorite teams to watch in the NFL this year, just because of how exciting they are, I think. They're a team on the rise that I think could be really good in a year, especially if Tua pans out like he's supposed to. Chiefs, Bills. Okay, the Chiefs kind of have put out the Bills flame here a little bit. I mean, Mahomes was just so efficient, 21 for 26 with 2 touchdowns. Elaire with 169 yards all purpose. He's looking like a steal in the draft. And Josh Allen was not the Josh Allen we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Let's be honest. He has kind of been the captain of this team and leading that offense, and they did not get it done against the Chiefs, who honestly, they don't have the best defense. But and it's not saying they're bad. I just don't think that they have the best defense. Obviously, their offense is what carries them. They have Pat Mahomes, lots of great tight end, a great tight end, Travis Kelce, and just lots of weapons. Tyreek Hill, Elaire, obviously, you already know. But no running game for the Bill hurts them a lot. And the defense can only do so much against Mahomes. Mahomes is going to put up points, no matter what defense he's going against. So, Cardinals, Cowboys. Oh, God. That was a tough one to watch. I mean, I thought the boys would be more competitive. I know that they don't have a quarterback, but the Red Rifle is just not looking good, we'll say. Zeke was supposed to be the star here. I mean, this is the game that Zeke has to come out and play well. He has to. He has to go score touchdowns. He has to get probably at least 120 yards for them to win that game against the Cardinals offense. That's pretty good. And the Arizona defense locked up the run game and punched the ball out of Zeke's hands twice. So Zeke kind of really fumbled the ball here. And the Cowboys are 2-4, but still leading the NFC East. And it's honestly, even though how terrible it is, it's a very interesting division to watch because right now the Eagles could win that. The Giants could even win that, even with Saquon. And the Cowboys are supposed to win it, but this should be the easiest year for the division ever. And the Cowboys should be, with the talent they have, are not a 2-4 team. Seems like the coaching can't get together. The players don't have any chemistry. I don't know what's going on in Dallas, but it's not right. Cardinals win 38-10. Okay, so let's take a look at the NFL power rankings here. And we're going to start from the bottom because who likes to see the first team? Best team first. I mean, this one's not a surprise. The New York Jets. Okay, New York Jets coming at number 32. Not surprising. I mean, they're 0-6. I already told y'all this is probably the worst team I've seen play football in my whole life in the NFL. 32, deserving. There's not a worse team. Jaguars. See, Jaguars is a little surprising for me to see at 31. I know they're not doing well and they're 1-5, but the next team after that is the Washington football team. And I think that the Washington football team is probably worse than the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars will beat some teams, and I think they're honestly a team that can take out maybe some of the bigger guys and probably win like 5 games this year, but maybe one of their wins is going to be against a top opponent. I think it's possible, but I don't see Washington taking out any big teams, and I don't know. The Jaguars suck, the Washington sucks, but Washington is worse. And that was who was at 30, obviously. And now we have the New York Giants. I think that they do deserve to move up in these rankings after a win. I mean, getting your first win, even if against the Washington football team, it's a win is a win. And the thing is, they're a game back in the NFC East. Come on, that is crazy. They're 1-5 and they're a game back. It is not out of reach for the New York football Giants. I mean, come on. I mean, New York football right now, it's a little tough, but they've got some hope there in New York. Next is the Bengals. I think the Bengals, I'm not sure if their coach will be there next year. The Bengals have the talent on offense to be really good. It's really the problem with their defense. Joe Mixon is a star. Joe Burrow could be a star. They've got a lot of weapons, and if Joe Burrow can use them right, then I think that they could be a good team. But they're definitely going to need to get some O-line, and they need to get any type of pressure on the quarterback. The Bengals are a team that I think could be good in like a year or two, but right now that defense is looking grim. Next, they have the Vikings at 27. I think I'd agree with that. They're probably the best 1-5 team for sure, with the amount of cap they have, like the ceiling they have in football. So I don't know. I think even though after getting whooped by the Falcons, they are still a team that could surprise some people late season if they get their form and their act together. But I'm very surprised that the Vikings were this bad this year, honestly. The next, they have the ranked 26, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the way they're playing, they deserve to be 26, but the talent they have is way higher. It's crazy to me that they're 2-4. Everybody, I mean, obviously I know everybody talks about the Cowboys, all the time. Everybody's talking about the Cowboys, but Jesus Christ, they should be so much better. 2-4. I mean, it's a tough loss for them, especially with Dak being out. That's just so tough. Atlanta Falcons at 1-5. I don't know if them getting a win against the Vikings, their first win of the season, is good enough to put them above the Cowboys. I don't think so. I know that the Cowboys are streaking down, but still, it's the Falcons. They've given up so many leads. Them and the Lions have given up huge deficits, right? I don't think that this is a team that is that good. We'll see. The Texans at 1-5. Oh, I think I'm a little wrong in that. The best 1-5 team is definitely the Texans. The Vikings can't compete with the Texans, but because they don't have Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is a beast, but it's just looking a little tough in how everything's panning out for the Texans. I think they definitely thought they could get a couple wins in the beginning of the season. I know they didn't expect to go 6-0 or anything crazy, but if they could have just won 3, if they win 2 more, they go even, they're in playoff contention easy because of the team they have. But 1-5, I doubt they'll make the playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles at 1-4-1. I like this because of the Wentz is kind of getting back on his game. I like that because the Eagles are definitely a team that could swipe the NFC East from the Cowboys, for sure. Next, ranked 22, they have the Lions. I mean, honestly, I think the Lions should be down, maybe 25 or so. I don't think that a win against the Jags makes us better than the Texans, makes better than the Cowboys even. I don't see it. Yes, we blew out a team, which I haven't seen the Lions do in years, but the coaching is a problem. I think part of this is DeAndre Swift trending up, but I don't think the Lions at 22 is fair. The Broncos at 21, I like. I think that they're definitely a team that could come up and beat some really good teams. I'm not sure if they're playoff potential yet, but their defense is solid and their running game is good. And if we know anything about that, that's the combo that makes championships. They just need a solid quarterback play. And if they can do that, they'd be a lot better. The Miami Dolphins at rank 20. I think the Dolphins honestly could be a little lower, like 17 or so, because, I mean, even though Fitzmagic is getting benched, that Dolphins team still has so much potential on offense. We've seen guys like Gesicki come out and play, and other wide receivers coming out to play and be huge for the Dolphins. So we'll see. They have obviously a good defense. I mean, leaving the Jets with 0 points, even though it's the Jets, is still a good feat. I mean, leaving any NFL team to leaving them with only 0 points, that's a W right there. The Panthers at 19. For some reason this whole year, I haven't really seen the Panthers as like a threat to... I mean, I know they're playing a very good division, and they're probably one of the worst teams in that division, but I don't think that Teddy Two Gloves and the team that they have is going to be able to do it. I think that they lean too much on McCaffrey, actually they can't even do that anymore. I forgot. They literally cannot lean on McCaffrey, and Teddy Bridgewater is going to have to find a way. I don't think this is a team that's going to be good. I think they're going to keep dropping. We'll see. The Chargers at 1-4. At rank 18? I don't see it. I think that they have one win against the Bengals, and they're somehow at rank 18. I know they play the Chiefs tough, and I know that they have a good defense, but I'm not sure if I believe in Justin Herbert yet, and I think that's a way too high for the Chargers. Because if you look at the next team, it's the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, it's obviously, yes, the Niners are 3-3, but this is a team that they get back healthy, they can make a great playoff push. The Chargers are not a team that can make a playoff push, in my opinion. Next, we got the ranked 16 Indianapolis Colts. I think they could be higher. I know that they didn't have the most dominant win last week, but at 4-2 with a good defense, the only problem for me is Phillip Rivers' inconsistency. It was a huge blow to lose Marlon Mack, but 16, I think they could be a lot higher. Because if you look at next, they have the Browns at 15. The Browns definitely need to be way down. They're saying the Browns are 15 with Case Keenum now at the helm. I know Case Keenum brought the Vikings a little bit of success, but still, the Browns? Nah, I don't believe that. I think the Browns are definitely going to be trending down for the rest of the season unless they can figure out how to use weapons on offense. And that's just kind of how it is. Arizona Cardinals at 14. They've had a couple stumbles a little bit throughout their season, but if they can get that consistency going, they have a great offense. I love Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's doing great things in Arizona. I think with Kyler Murray, he is just an athlete, and we've seen him juke out guys and throw the ball well. I think that this is a quarterback that a lot of people are sleeping on, and I think Kyler Murray could do a lot in Arizona. Next, they got the Raiders. They're coming off a bye week. I don't know. The Raiders are a weird team for me. I think that they did well in the beginning of the season, but I'm interested to see how they're going to keep going. They play in a tough division. We'll see. I'm excited to watch the Raiders, though. I think that they're a team that could be very exciting, but I think they'd also be a team that very well just kind of flops. Next, we have the Patriots at 2-3. They've had a very tough schedule, but losing to the Broncos is not something that they, I think, accounted for. I think that this was definitely a team that they were like, oh, we have to get a win here, and they didn't. So I know they've had lots of COVID issues, and that obviously puts stress on a team trying to prepare for a week, but the Patriots, I don't know about that at 12. See, they have rank 11. The 11th team is the Bears. I know. I even hated on the Bears. in the beginning. Okay? But this team is 5-1. They got to put a little bit of respect on their name. For 11, they've only lost once. I know they haven't played the best teams, and they don't have dominating wins. They're winning games by small margins. But that shows something about a team as well as showing that, they're not blowing out teams, but they have the grit to win the game in the fourth, and that's something we've seen from the Bears this year. So I think that's huge as well, and that's not something that's represented on paper. Next, at number 10, the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, I think that's fair with the amount of weapons they have. Michael Thomas needs to get back in the mix, but I don't know. You still have a good Saints offense, and their defense has actually played decently this year. So, and obviously Drew Brees, he's trying to get back into form. He's having not the greatest year, and he doesn't throw the ball downfield. But if they can open it up, the Saints are a super dangerous team. The Los Angeles Rams. I don't know why in football I've always felt weird about the Rams. Once they moved to LA, I feel like with Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp and this whole combo thing they have with a good defense, I don't know if I've ever really believed in them. I still don't. 4-2. I just don't see a team in the Rams right now that's going to win a championship. That's basically how I feel. The Bills at 8. They're coming off, 2 losses? I think they could be lower in terms of being at a 10 or 11. Definitely move a team like the Bears up, because I don't know how they would fare against a team like the Bears, but I think that'd be an exciting game. I don't think that the Bills deserve 8. They're going to need to have some bounce back wins and definitely get some wins against good teams. And they have dropped the Green Bay Packers all the way down to 7. I think that's a little unfair because before the one bad game of Aaron Rodgers, this team, everyone was like, wow, the Packers are the best in the NFC, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you dropped them 6 positions. They were number 1 last week, and they dropped them to 7 for one bad loss. I mean, I don't know, but I think they're probably a ranked 3 or 4 team. I like the Buccaneers being moved up to 6. I mean, they haven't been super consistent all year, but Gronk getting in the mix, them getting AB reportedly, this is going to be huge for the organization. Tampa Bay is definitely a team to be reckoned with, and in the playoffs could be extremely good. Seahawks at 5, I think could be higher. I think the Seahawks are one of the best teams in the league right now. I think them, the Chiefs, the Titans, Steelers, and the Seahawks and the Packers are probably my top 5. But because next you have the Ravens, and yes, I talk about it. Lamar's a playmaker and everything, but they beat the Eagles by 2. The Seahawks are running through teams. They're playing really well, playing great football. Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, probably top 3. And I don't know. I think they should be a little higher. I think they should swap them and the Ravens right here, because the Ravens are at number 4. They did not look good against the Chiefs, and that is something. Obviously, it's the Chiefs. Okay, Chiefs are easily one of the best teams in the league, but I don't know. Next, they have ranked 3 Tennessee Titans. I think the NFL, especially NFL.com, is finally giving Derrick Henry and saying this guy's going to lead the team, and they know that this is why they're so good. Ryan Tannehill's obviously having a great year, but Derrick Henry, no one can stop him. Number 2, we have the Steelers, and that defense and James Conner in the running game. This is a team that I think could win a Super Bowl this year. I think that right now the Steelers have the best shot. I think they have an insanely good team, extremely consistent, and just blowing out teams. That's what I'm looking for in a really good team, and they've done all that. I check all the boxes. They have all the they have all the things. They have defense, running game, and they have a good quarterback. Next, they have number 1, Kansas City. I think I'd swap Kansas City and the Steelers, but I know the Chiefs had a good win against the Bills. So, okay, now let's go look at. So let's take a look at my teams on the rise. So, number 1, the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are a team that are definitely trending up, and I'm honestly hopping on the bandwagon right now. They're naming Tua the starter. Not sure how I feel about that. I think that you keep Fitz in right now until he loses more. Like, the Dolphins are playing good football. I'm not sure about the move. We'll see. I might be wrong. I mean, I'm not the coach. Maybe Tua comes out there and they've seen stuff in practice that I haven't. Obviously, I don't see. And they're like, it's time for Tua. Hopefully. I just hope they're not putting him too in early. Like, him in. If he gets in too early, when he could be learning behind a guy like Fitz, who is honestly one of the most seasoned veterans in the league in terms of he played all around the league. He knows a lot about other teams. He knows a lot about how quarterbacks work and survive in the NFL, and because he's survived his whole career. So we'll see. After that, I got the Buccaneers. I mean, the Buccaneers are definitely a team that we could be looking back in 2 weeks and be like, wow, this team is insane. They are Super Bowl bound. I think it's very possible. They have a huge win against Green Bay when no one else could stop Green Bay. I think that's very telling of the coaching there, and that Arians system is working out. So next, I know these are another good team, but Titans. Obviously, people knew the Titans were already up, but I think that the Titans rising to above the tier that I think that people put them in. I think before there was like the top tier of like maybe a couple 3 teams, like, you know, say the Chiefs, Packers, Seahawks, Steelers maybe. But I think the Titans just moved up into that tier and took like a spot there. So I think the Titans are a very, very exciting team and could definitely make a great push in the AFC. The AFC is looking incredible, honestly. Like, you look at the NFC, it's honestly looking pretty stinky compared to the AFC. And I feel like I haven't said that in a while. Team on the decline. Texans can't seem to win games. They can't beat anyone right now. It's real tough for Houston fans, I know, and seeing a great quarterback like Deshaun Watson seeing like he can't get wins. And obviously the Cowboys. Dak going out with that horrific injury is really tough for them. But they're going to have to find ways to win. They have Zeke, but they don't have the O-line they used to have. I'm trying to find positives. Their defense has to play better. It was pretty good last year. I just don't understand all of the regression with the talent they have. So we'll see if they can get that together. I mean, it really does suck, like, looking at that Dak injury. I mean, just talking about that, I mean, Dak was having the best year of his career. And I used to knock Dak all the time for not being a quarterback that throws downfield, not being a quarterback that, passes enough, who hands the ball off most of the time. But he was having the best year of his career, and now who knows if he'll play in a Cowboys jersey ever again. And that's what's really sad about that. Oh, another fun little story from the NFL this week. We had Mike Vrabel sending 12 men on the field to essentially stop the clock and get themselves like an extra timeout, which I thought was just genius. Vrabel's done this before, and I love little stories like this and watching this. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you should go look it up. But Mike Vrabel sent 12 men on the field on purpose, and he was like, it's up there with Belichick and Andy Reid level coaching, where it's second and short, late in the game, there's about 3 minutes left, and he knows the other team's gonna get the first down. So they're like, okay, let's just send 12 men on the field on purpose. He sends his guy out there and then acts all, oh my God, I didn't know there was 12 men on the field. It's just BS for the ref. Just so they would call the 12 men on the field, so the other team would get the first down, stops the clock, and they don't have to use a timeout because they know they're already going to give up the first down. It's honestly incredible coaching. One of the main reasons not one of the main reasons, but one of the just plenty reasons I think Mike Vrabel's doing great things in Tennessee, and that Titans team is definitely some team to watch out for. Next, we're going to go over a little bit, we can look over coaches on the hot seat. I mean, number one I have written down here is Matt Patricia, obviously. The Lions are making a little bit of a comeback in the season, but I don't know. I think that the only way he keeps his job is if the Lions make the playoffs. And I think for a lot of Lions fans, they don't even want that. I think a lot of Lions fans want the Lions to tank. They want a new coach in, because after firing Caldwell at 9-7, we bring in a Patricia who is just not doing well in Detroit. Who knows? Just like all the other Belichick tree, maybe get somebody off Andy Reid's tree. I don't know if that's anything that people have thought. Again, Adam Gase with the Jets. Peyton Manning put in his word for New York Jets fans. I know all the Jets fans now hating Peyton Manning for that because he is looking pretty rough. And then after that, we have the Chargers. Anthony Lynn, if the Chargers do not compete this year, I don't think that he'll be back next year. The Chargers are a weird team because about 2 or 3 years ago, they were a really, really good team. They lost in the AFC Championship, I believe, and now they've just declined. Okay, so let's take a look at my predictions for next week. I'm going to look at the games here. Let's see. So, first one I see, we got Lions-Falcons. I actually think the Lions will win this game. The Falcons got their first win last week, obviously, put up big numbers, but I think that the Lions are on a little bit of an up streak here and have a good shot at beating the Falcons and going to even. Then we have Browns-Bengals. This is one of those games that I think could be on upset alert for sure. I think the Bengals could take this game, but most likely, you know what? No, I'm going to go Bengals. I'm going to take Bengals in this game. I think Bengals get another win here. I think the Browns are struggling. Next, Packers-Texans. I'm going to take the Packers. That's easy. Packers can have a bounce-back week. Rodgers doesn't have 2 bad weeks. Come on. When has he ever done that? Never. Panthers-Saints. I think the Saints should take this one. I think that Drew Brees will be able to get it together against the Panthers team that doesn't have Christian McCaffrey. So that's how I feel about that. Bills-Jets. Obviously, y'all can make that pick. It's Bills. Jets aren't getting a win that week. Cowboys against the Washington football team should be exciting. I think the Cowboys will get a win here, especially with their track record with Washington. They don't lose to Washington very much. It's one of the few teams that the Cowboys are consistently beating every year. So, we got an exciting matchup with the Seahawks and Cardinals on Sunday night. That, I think, I'm going to take the Seahawks. I think that when it comes down to quarterback duels, I'm going to take Russell Wilson over Kyler Murray every day. Then we've got Chiefs-Broncos. Okay, so Chiefs-Broncos. I like the Chiefs here, obviously, but I think the Broncos coming off a big win could make this very exciting. I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I think the Broncos could do it. Niners-Patriots. I'm going to take the Patriots here, actually. I think that Belichick's going to make the adjustments to get points on the board, and the Niners aren't going to be able to keep up. After that, we got Buccaneers, Raiders. Buccaneers coming off a huge win. I think they're rolling on a very high wave right now. Big wave. Buccaneers take that game against the Raiders. Then we got Steelers, Titans. This is probably one of the best games of the week. I like the Steelers. I know Derrick Henry's a beast. I like the Steelers, okay? Jags, Chargers. Chargers should win this game. If they don't, they're awful. I think this is like a game that if they don't win, their season's down the drain for sure. After that, Bears, Rams. I'm going to take the Bears. I think the Bears are going to get it done. Even though I think a lot of people would take the Rams here, I'm going to take the Bears. And finally, we're just going to look at the best matchups. Obviously, Steelers, Titans. You get James Conner versus Derrick Henry. You get a tough Pittsburgh defense, and you get Ryan Tannehill versus Big Ben Roethlisberger. I think it's going to be very interesting, but I think if you look at all three of those things, you look at defense, quarterback, and the running games, which both are the biggest things for each team. Derrick Henry obviously is better than James Conner, but that Pittsburgh defense and the quarterback is better for Pittsburgh. I think they have a better team, and I think Steelers are going to take that. Buccaneers, Raiders, coming off of that huge win, the Buccaneers are going to take that. Bears, Raiders, I think Bears could surprise a lot of people beating a Raiders team, but at the same time, if they beat the Raiders, they're going to be like, oh, the Raiders aren't that good. People are hating on the Bears right now, and it's hard for me to say that. But you know what? I think the Bears can do it. Okay, well, I'll see y'all next week. Back with another podcast.